Good morning. Okay, so today's Wednesday. Yesterday, when I was filming the other two parts of the hot air balloon, we had a big storm coming through the city, and internet was down, and I had a hard time uploading them. And so today, we're going to do the third part. Had I had internet yesterday, then I would have done it all yesterday, but life is life. Mm. Seems like a latte kind of day, so that's what I'm having. Okay, so I'm going to scoot you down again and show you where I left off. I did make a few changes because, well, arbitrary, not arbitrarily, but just sort of have an idea of where I'm at this point. So I've definitely, you know, changed the balloons up a slight change up anyway. And I've also, to make more space, framed my sky. The sky is not necessarily blue in this case. There's some turquoise around the edges, and then there's yellow and there's orange in the center. Now, what you could do is you could use oil pastels because the background is a latex paint. You can use oil pastels on top of that, no problem, and it lends itself to smudging quite nicely. But I've been using my gelatos, of course, and testing a few different things. But having lighter centers and then darker outers really lends itself to a nicer sky in this case. So you just have to play with it and see how far you get. And yes, you could probably overwork it if you really try hard enough. But you know what? If you find it's too light, then you take out the dark color again. That's okay too. But this way it looks like either the sun is setting or the sun is rising. To me, anyway. Now, I don't think hot air balloons go out at night, so it's probably rising. So very early in the morning. I'm not an early riser myself, so that'd be way too early for me, but some people like to be up early in the morning, and that is fine. But you can see that you can just sort of, play with the colors, and they go nicely on top of each other. You can build and layer and see what you can do with it. And I just tend to go around the balloons. I'm not going to go over at this point. I'm happy with the balloons. I like the way they are. And then I did stamp my tree, but because it's a very realistic looking tree and everything else isn't, and you could see the field furrows that I have already on the hills through the trees, I just took my alcohol ink marker and just sort of stylized it a little bit more, make it look less like this and more like, well, what we have now. So it makes it a little bit more sense to me. And again, I haven't thought of a title yet. Well, yes and no. But it looks like at this point we're in balloon number 6 because there's 5 in the sky and we're up high. So it looks like we're in number 6 and they're all floating away, which I kind of like. I really enjoyed the scenery of that. I didn't do anything in the background. I just wanted to keep it that way. Again, you can do more of the reverse stenciling if you wanted to. I did end up doing some of it because some of the others colors that I have been smudging and smearing on there sort of dissipated a little bit. So that's good. So at this point, I would normally do some stenciling or stamping rather. So the only thing I did stamp on here were the trees. And then I just sort of did whatever to them. And I do have some stars. I had thought about doing them in white, which would be interesting. I don't know if it would work very well, but Stays on ink works really well for this. It'll go over top of this, no problem. And if you're worried about color fastness on this, then, you know, by all means use oil pastels and you won't have the same issue. You wouldn't be able to use the reverse stenciling as easily, but, you know, which is okay. I don't think it matters too much. It depends. You just have to experiment a little bit. But in this case, my hot air balloons are going into the night sky. Because why not? And like I said, I do not have a title. And I tend to work in odd numbers. Just have fun with it. I did have a couple of other sizes. Just little peg stamps. I've had these forever. Just have to be careful that you don't get ink on the edges and don't press too hard, because then you'll have like a little square. It's okay if they don't all show up perfectly. But I'm tending towards the outer edges of my picture. Just playing. I kind of like that. And there's a smaller one. It looks a little bit more like a snowflake, but that's okay. So, all depends on how you feel, I guess. That's how I would, how I've done it, regardless. So there's that. And now with the title. I thought about stamping it, which I could, or, you know, getting the Tim Holtz word stickers out. Again, I have no idea. Something about travel. Again, I tend to stick it on my hand first until I know what I'm going to do. So I will just stick it on my hand. Travel with. I want to say strength, but I'm not entirely sure. I want to use this stamp that I have. I'm going to use this together. Okay, travel with dreams and strength. I think that's going to be my... So I tend to leave the center a little, not all of it, but some of it. Oops. If you find it doesn't stick, you can always use a little bit of glue. But I think it'll be okay in this case. Now I want to use this, and I'm going to stamp it first, and then I'll put the words with it. Okay, take that one off. And that's why I like the clear blocks. You can really get a good view of what's going on. In this case, you know, the stamp, the Misty wouldn't work too well. It's a very fancy and sign. Not sure what those are called. dreams and strength. I could have used the black stickers, but I think in this case the white would show up a little bit nicer. If you find these are too stark, but I have white in the balloons, if you find they're too stark, you can put a little wash of color over top, obviously. So, yeah, travel with dreams and strength. It's interesting. It's different. It's definitely not something I've done before, so I'm very happy about that. So going from, you know, this to this to this to this, it's very different. And I think that's what our journaling should be, exploring different avenues. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah. I could have done the and symbol afterwards, but it's okay. I might do some white dots. I know a lot of people do splashes and things like that. I don't really like to do splashes too much, but I will add some white dots to the sky because they can add in with the black stars. And I would probably tend to stay on the outside again a little bit more. You know how many times I've gone over these balloons with, like, you know, so many different colors, and I couldn't get the color right, you know, for what I wanted. So, yeah. Again, you know, it's subjective to everyone. You have to sort of know when to do more and when to stop. It's like dressing well, or doing your makeup, or wearing jewelry, or anything like that. You know you've gone overboard when you go like, oh, yeah, maybe not. But in this case, this is just the right amount for me, I think. So just that little bit. So it could be a morning sky, it could be a night sky, it could be winter, it could be summer, it doesn't matter. It's an imaginary world, so it's a dream world. Let's see how it goes. So, yeah. I kind of like how that turned out. It makes me happy. I hope you like it, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do for the next one. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Maybe we can come up with something together. Or, you know, you want to learn how to do something, how to draw something. I've been wanting to get back into fantasy drawing for a while. So dragons and unicorns and things like that. So that's going to take me a little bit of practice. I used to be really, really good at it, but I'm a little out of practice for that one. But we'll see how that goes. All right. Oh, hello. Okay. So, like I said, if you have any suggestions, let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, actually. If you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe. Give this video a like, or the whole series a like for that matter. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate every single one of them. I look forward to traveling together on more journeys. So have a great day, guys. Bye.